What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday. It's one day we can actually all be happy about. I know I say that every day, but happy Friday because it is a good little weekend. We've got the conference championships coming up. We've got some interesting basketball games. This time of year, basketball has been wild. I'm fortunately back here on the road with my man Sheets. And Sheets, what are you thinking about this slate? What do you think about this weekend? Sort of what's been going on with you?
Well, Bobby's kind of trolling everybody right now because it's like we had a little Indian summer here in New York for a little bit. It was warm, and today it's like 2 degrees out. And Bobby's in California, dressed in like a sweatshirt and and you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know whether that's intentional or not, but it's freaking freezing here.
It's cold here too, man. We had a giant storm. I'm lucky to be able to get online.
I guess. Yeah, Bobby was lucky enough to miss last night, where you needed 7 million points to win. So we're just gonna kind of move on. It's the weekends coming up is just a normal weekend for me, and for DFS, thankfully it's almost the end of the NFL season. And not that I hate the NFL, but I just kind of just love the NBA so much that I want to be fully focused on it. We'll probably put something up on the NFL, I'm sure, and I'm sure I'll probably, give you my takes. But I'm really just all about kind of the NBA, and I'm really, really into it
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm sort of ready. I've had a good football season overall, really good, and I usually do well in the playoffs. But it's just I'm ready. I'm ready just to focus almost on NBA. Although we will have one more weekend that I'll be playing. Looking at the slate tonight, this is interesting. On Draftkings, there's some guys who are going to be high owned. They did a good job actually pricing a couple guys up, which give them a little bit of credit. It's an interesting slate. Is there anybody who you feel like you're at near lock with?
right now. No, absolutely not. There's nobody, and I'm usually like this, but on DraftKings, there's really nobody that I 100% need to have. You know what I mean? Like all else, all ownership being whatever. Like if there's a guy that's 40% owned, I don't care who it is. I'm probably not using him. FanDuel, it's kind of tough to get away from some of the chalk because they basically broke the pricing model. Either that or they're doing it on purpose, as I suggested the other day, maybe to get more business. I don't know what it is, but DraftKings is definitely the sharper of the sites today. And I don't think that anybody can, or I don't think anybody should be that high owned on this slate. But like anything else, I'm sure that they will be.
Yeah, I mean, things are obviously also probably going to happen between now and lock. So we may as well get into it with the first game because this is going to be where I think you're going to have some people playing at least one value guy that's pretty obvious, which in Napier. But Indy and Minnesota, what are like? Okay, so I know on the other night I was all over this game in Minnesota. I was all over. We talked literally right before lock, and I said I'm going to play Sabonis, and I played in my 2K lineup. I'm going to play Sabonis and Brogdon, and I really wanted to run it back, and I unfortunately chose Wiggins, which didn't work out well for me. But the Sabonis call I really liked, and obviously he exploded. He actually put up 58, but he could have easily had a much bigger game even. I love him in this matchup. I think he's going to absolutely shred them. I liked the game better in Minnesota, where I felt like they were really going to hang in there and stay close. Sabonis is pretty much the same on the road or at home. So I don't think it really matters all that much, but I just, he's a little bit more expensive today. I don't feel as much of a need. I like to play him when I feel like they're going to need him to get going. But again, you're playing against Minnesota. You have pretty much a primo matchup for everyone. So he and Brogdon are certainly strong plays. I just don't know that I love him as much as I did the other night, especially knowing that he's going to have some ownership today where he was 2% owned the other day.
Okay, so I have a couple of things on this game. First of all, we have to remember to go back to Washington, Toronto.
My fault.
That was the first one. That's fine. I actually do have an opinion on this, and it's much stronger than it was before, just really based on the 3-minute conversation we had before we started this. I do like Brogdon and Sabonis again, and on the Minnesota side of things, I mean, you were asking me earlier, we were talking earlier about what, that Shabazz Napier is going to pop as a pretty good value here. And he's also going to be probably pretty decently owned as a result of that. And the reason why that is because they traded Jeff Teague, right? So I think that until they figure out what is going to happen with the backup point guard. I think those backup point guard minutes are really open for business. And if you could figure that out, you could get a pretty decent idea of what to do here. And I think it's kind of coming to me just based on something I mentioned to you in pre. If Napier's not going to be the point guard for 48 minutes, which he's not going to be, it's either going to be like trusting Culver as a backup point guard or doing maybe like some Okogie thing. But I hate to do this to you, but I think the idea of Wiggins handling the ball a little more is going to happen, at least till they figure it out. And I think I'm gonna just go right back and do the same thing I did last time. I mean, depending on the rest of the slate, I think I am going to play a couple of these things. I think I am going to go back to Wiggins, and I think I am going to play maybe some Chalk Napier, maybe run some Jared Culver. But I think I like it. I think I'm going to try Wiggins again. I mean, again, whether you play Wiggins or not, this is what we discussed last time. For me, is whether you're going to get the Wiggins that actually has the ball and is attacking, or you're going to get the one that freaking stands in the corner. You know what I mean? And I think that with T gone and trying to figure out the what's going to happen with the rest of the point guard situation, I think this could be a good spot for Wiggins if you want to know the truth. Now, again, the matchup stinks and and all that stuff, but I don't know. I think I might try it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a little bit of a harder time. I definitely see the angle you're coming from. I'd feel better if this game was in Minnesota.
Sure.
But I don't know that I'm going to end up getting there. Again, though, there's not a lot that I feel like you have to lock in on this slate, so I don't think that it's the worst idea. I do think Okogie is interesting just with the minutes. I mean, look, we've seen this guy play a bunch of minutes and produce absolutely nothing. And we've seen him play, have a 40-point game. There's a couple games back just against Houston. I think he ends up getting a few more minutes because of the Travion Graham being gone. So I actually think Okogie might be a sneaky low-owned value play if you want to go that route. Not always that much fun, but does have the upside in spite of what people believe. I don't think I'm going to touch the Bates, Diop, and the other guys tonight. I actually think that, if you really wanted to reach, you could do it, but it's not for me for the most part. My friend's kid just came in. Hi, Jojo. This is what happens when you're on the road trying to do these things. Anyway, so let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me in this game. I think it's really just...
you know what I forgot to mention to you? You asked me like what happened yesterday, the last couple of days, or whatever it is. One thing that happened, which you're gonna see. By the way, am I sharing my screen?
Let's. You're not sharing it yet. Oh, you were. Okay. I thought you were a second ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm doing now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing that's happened, and you're going to see this when you go through DraftKings. I don't have any specific examples of it tonight, but there were a lot of players on DraftKings who got their positional flexibility just kind of really squeezed. Like, for example, he stopped playing today. I don't know why I bring it up, but like Giannis is now only power forward eligible. You know what I mean? And you're going to see a lot of those over the next, when you go just kind of like breeze through the slates, which it's gonna make construction a little more difficult. Just again, something just kind of keep in mind.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
Okay. All right. Anything else in this game? Probably not.
No,
right?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it got a little mini stack that did well in this game. It's just I think Indiana is going to control this one a little bit easier, and it's just sort of where I'm at.
All right. Washington. Let's go back then. Washington, Toronto. So the injury news that's kind of still pending is Fred VanVleet, whether he's going to play or not. Let's see the last thing I had for him. Questionable. Oh, he is expected to return. Right. As a matter of fact, either Friday or Saturday. So it's unclear. I'm kind of presuming at the moment him being in, but just not because I think so, just because of what I'm basing my stuff on, right? First of all, on the Washington side, you also have to think about what's going on with Bradley Beal and whether, what his minute situation really, really is. Here in DraftKings just talks about just nonsense. He hasn't really been shooting that well. I don't really care about that. But if once again, if you knew that he was going to get the full complement of Bradley Beal run, 7,600 is kind of a joke, but if you expect him to get more like 30 that makes a little more sense coming back from these injuries and stuff, then he's just kind of whatever. So Curious to get your take on that. Nobody else from Washington kind of does it for me. On Toronto, Pascal Siakam, slowly making his way back from injury, had a real bad game to start off with. And he's been, I don't know, I think that he could be a really good play here. I don't see much opportunity to stack this, but I guess a good one-off in this game might be Siakam, but I don't think he's going to be any particularly sneaky either.
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty much all I had.
Yeah, I'm sort of some. I imagine usually when they say a player will be ready Friday or Saturday if it's back-to-back, like oftentimes you'll see them not play the first day and then play the second day. Okay. If Van Vliet is out, is the only way that I can see myself having much more interest. And even then, I don't really know where I'd go. You've got Gasol back in the mix now. For me, I think it's just going to be a simple take a shot with Siakam. Unfortunately, I mean, even in blowouts, they were playing Siakam 38 minutes before. He's only played 30 his first 2 games back. I still think that there's a lot of upside there. I actually like him a lot on FanDuel too, where he's only 7,600. But he won't be owned over here on Draftkings at 79. What's that?
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I was just looking at that as you were saying that.
Yeah, that's a really solid play over on FanDuel. But on DK here, I think that he's a guy I definitely want exposure to. I just think the upside is plenty high enough. It's literally a dream matchup. You do worry about blowouts, and then also with him, coming back from an injury, his minutes have already been lessened a little bit in the first couple games back. Gasol did come right out of the gates and play 31 minutes the other night, and this is not a matchup where I see it being a Gasol situation. But if they were to leave him on the court, which I don't think they would do because they're going to run up and down a bunch, but if they were to leave him on the court, I could see him easily squeezing into a double-double and being a really good value at 4.8. Just probably not going to get there on the slate.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, if Pascal Siakam is what they're projecting, like 10% or less, I'm playing him, and that to me is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. But the only issue is like the minutes projections are what might be throwing people off a little bit. The problem is once they announce Van Vliet out, if they do, I don't think it matters all that much for Siakam, but I think everybody shifts over as if it matters.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right. I think the ownership has a lot of upside from here. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to be a lot higher than 9%, I guess, now that you look at it. All right, you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, so Chicago, Philadelphia. So you're in a way going to be glad you've been away, because what I've been hearing, you're going to have to convince me of this because I'm just not doing it. But with Gafford, I guess, out in this last game, Luke Cornett played I think technically it was 7 zillion minutes. Okay, now actually what it was 35, which is basically the equivalent of 7 zillion, right? I will say this, that if Luke Cornett at 4,900 somehow becomes chalk, I can't imagine it being the case, but you're going to hear a lot about, I'm not playing this. I'm just not. There's just no way I'm doing it. But you'll hear it. I'm telling you, you'll hear a lot about it. And also with Gafford out, you could, make a case that Thad Young, whatever. But I'm just not going to any of these places. As a matter of fact, the only guy I'm even considering playing on Chicago is Zach LaVine, just because. You know what I mean? He's not even projected to be that great here either. But I don't want to play. I'm really not interested in much anybody from Chicago. On Philly, even on DraftKings, they haven't really adjusted the price all enough, I think, for Ewing. Listen to me, for Embiid being out. So still Horford's looking like still a decent play on DraftKings. Tobias Harris still looking to be a decent play on DraftKings. On FanDuel, we'll get to there later in a different video, but those guys are just priced basically it's ridiculous. And then again, the same guys, and Richardson and Simmons. So if Thibault is announced starting again, maybe he becomes chalky again. Maybe he becomes a play again. I'm not sure. So again, in this game, it's not exciting too much. I mean, again, I guess I could always play LaVine and take my go LaVine with Harris or something like that. But it's not as exciting as it could be. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So I'm interested a little bit in the Thaddeus Young thing.
Okay, go for it.
I think that this could be a spot where you could see him match up a lot. I mean, obviously, going back to Philly, it's another thing if you want an extra little narrative. But the minutes could creep back up over that 30-minute mark. And at 30 minutes at this price, I think he's actually a reasonable play. This is not a team that you have to be terribly afraid of without well, I mean, they're still good defensively, but it's not like without Embiid, with Embiid there, they are so elite defensively. Without him, I do think that they take a little bit of a step back. And his price on FanDuel again at 4.6, 5K on DraftKings. I just think he's a guy who I have in the mix. I don't know where I'm going to end up on him because I just think that there's upside for this minutes projection we have for him. And Philly is going to play big bodies. And right now, I mean, we can call Cornette a big body, I guess. We've got Cornette, Thad Young. Oh, but we're going to get Felicio back tonight, I guess. I didn't realize that. I'm just looking for every minute I can squeeze out of him here. So I think that he's the guy I'd probably be most interested in. I have some interest in Cornette, but I don't know that I'm going to end up going there.
I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said that. I think that there's minutes upside for the projection. Like with what's his name out, okay, Thad Young is just going to have to play something, right? And I think that the minimum, I shouldn't say minimum, but I would say downside is maybe 24 minutes, I guess. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if he's playing well and other stuff, God forbid, Lauri Markkanen gets into foul trouble or something like that, who knows? And he could play 30 minutes. I mean, whatever.
So why also aren't we higher on Lauri Markkanen?
Yeah, I was just about to suggest that.
I mean, on FanDuel, he's 5K, and he's not going to be played. I mean, it's just interesting. Like, I mean, there's upside for this guy. He's not like I don't know. It seems a little bit crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll talk about that on FanDuel. DraftKings, he's not quite as –
no.
2% though.
I mean, you're getting no ownership on a guy who we would have left, you know, at the beginning of the season to play at this price. And now they have no front line. This could be the game where he goes off for 45 or 50. It's going to start happening. Just, it's not a great matchup, but like he is not only his minutes, talk about minutes upside, he's got minutes upside and usage upside to what they're projecting for him.
Hey, you mentioned Thad Young, narrative. Just again, only because you were out yesterday, I have to catch you up. So there were two narratives that I kind of one I brought up yesterday, one I forgot. I want to give a shout out to someone who pointed this out to me. So we tried one of the good things that we did was we recommended playing Damian Lee coming off of signing the big contract with Golden State, and I figured he'd put a good showing up, and he did. He put up like 7x, which basically was like not even enough to get you in the ball game yesterday. Mm-hmm. But there was like another really wild one that that below above came into me with the something with Marquise Chris and the Dr. Dre or something, and he just came off a two-way deal or something, so he re-signed a two-way deal, and he was going to come back, and he was definitely going to play yesterday. You totally would have been into it, and I think they played him a little bit. He didn't do anything, but it was a really, really circuitous road down Narrative Street yesterday. So again, you could, only because you weren't here, I just wanted to catch you up on it. So
I appreciate it.
We'll see what else we get into. So yeah. Miami, Oklahoma City's next. You have anything else from Philadelphia? Oh, Philadelphia. Do you like anything there?
So you're going to have ownership on all these guys. They've priced them up enough for me. I think Ben Simmons is definitely in play. So is Horford, and I don't think I could pay 8.3 for Harris. You can play him over on FanDuel, but sure, they're all tournament plays, but I don't really feel excited about any of them. Chicago's been sneaky better against the backcourts defensively. Absolutely get demolished by the front courts. Maybe you could argue that Horford would be the one that I have the most interest in, just because the matchup's the best for him. But yeah, it's not like the most exciting spot in the world.
Right.
I mean, Horford, I don't get excited about guys who give me 5x barely, and it's just, I don't know. Not that he couldn't in this matchup, but it's just, you're hoping for that one outlier 50 game, and this is a good matchup for it, but I don't think they necessarily even need it.
Yeah. All right. So again, it's not the most exciting game in the world. I guess we could just move on, I suppose.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Miami OKC. First of all, did what's his name did Shea smash again? No. No, he didn't. Right? Okay. Well, he did well, but he didn't.
Did he end up? Oh, he wasn't. He got to a really rocky start. I know that. I don't know where he ended up with. Oh, he ended 45. Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
He really came on late in the game.
Yep. All right. So on the Miami side of this game, I like Jimmy Butler, and the other thing I want to keep an eye on is again whether Hero is out, because if Hero is out again, I might go back to. This was very interesting for me. So the last game I played Kendrick Nunn, who was much cheaper, okay?
Yeah.
And I also played Dragic, and I thought that I was to be eating too much chalk with both those guys, and Dragic ended up being 6% owned. So I don't know
None was only 8% owned in the big buy-ins.
that's. Oh my God, that's true too. So I thought they both be really highly owned. It turns out nobody played either of them, and Dragic is still only 5,300. So if Hero's out, or maybe even if he isn't, maybe Dragic again could be a decent play. Aside from that, for me, it's just going to be Butler on that side, and I'll just continue to be frustrated playing him. Oklahoma City, they just look the same to me. I mean, nobody really stands out for me as a really, really great play. So you have your normal guys like Adams, Gallinari, Chris Paul, Schroeder, and then, now you have Shea priced up to 7,400. He doesn't look that great. So I don't really have anybody on this side of the ball I really need to play or want to play. I mean, if you want to run Butler with Paul or something like that. But the thing about Shea being so hot is I think that he's going to be taking more shots now and getting the ball a little bit more. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. I don't think anybody on this team is a must, and I don't really want to stack it. I just kind of a boring situation for me.
Yeah, I kind of like I really like Jimmy Butler. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate. I don't think he's going to have the ownership he should. People get too nervous with him. I like the road spot in a game that should be competitive, which makes me like Chris Paul. I think that this is a night where you're going to need Chris Paul, and I actually love the idea of running the two of them. I'm not sure that I'm going to do it. I'm probably going to play one big lineup on each side because I have to take the train back tonight. But I think that I'm going to lean a little bit Chris Paul, Jimmy Butler. I don't mind the Shea thing, but I really like Chris Paul in games where where I feel like they really need him. This is a game where I feel like that fits that category. And you could just be a game log watcher and just look at this guy consistently getting you 6-7x for these prices, which, hey, I'll take it. It's at 6,900. If you put up 40 plus today, I think I'm actually going to take it more than I would most days. Cause it's not like we have this glaring, there's good plays, but there's no absolute must, guys who are 3K, who are going to put up 45 or anything like that. At least not that I can find yet.
I agree with that. I mean, I really agree with that there's just nobody, at least for now, that you just are just kind of forced to play, or that, again, I talk about this a lot, you don't want to fall in love with a play, especially a day like today. If you say, boy, I think XYZ, he looks pretty good, actually, and then you start convincing yourself he looks really good, and the next thing you know, he's 30% owned, and you say, I'm going to play him anyway. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Just don't do it.
Yeah, you don't need to. Plenty of reference.
All right, so Cleveland and Memphis, I kind of really want this game.
This is my game.
Game that I can play. Yeah. Oh, good. So we can talk about this.
Yeah.
So the first thing is on the Cleveland side. I like one of your dudes a lot, and I think a second of your dudes. I don't know if consider this guy completely your dude. I'll throw him in there. So Kevin Love, I think, is a pretty good play here, especially considering I want to maybe stack this game. I'm going to make a little more of the case for guys that maybe as a one might not be as great, but Love looks really good to me. And then you can, go with either or both of these guards like Sexton and Garland. I know you like Garland in general as a player. And my only question would be whether you could play both of them. The only thing I would mention is that, and was a little surprising to me, is both of these guys are coming with some decent ownership, I think. I don't know why or how.
I do.
Maybe because it's a smart thing. I don't know. But these guys look to be pretty good plays. So those would be the guys from Cleveland. I don't know if I would go to Tristan Thompson and Osman. I always kind of like to throw in there, but I don't know. I don't think in this case I would want to. I think I would want to play Love and Sexton or Love and Garland or something like that.
That's what I'm at too.
Okay. Well, you can go back. So let me just on Memphis. If you're going to run Memphis guys back again, same comment as always. They never project well, which means they're always usually low owned. So you get to pick your upside guys as you see fit. And I see no reason to go to the normal guys we like to play, like Giannis Valanciunas, okay, who nobody ever plays. And then, you could go back to Ja Morant again. Maybe he's breaking out. 8K looks such a tough price. But, if you're stacking, you can make a little, you make an argument that doesn't matter quite as much. Or you go to Jaren Jackson Jr. The Q tag guy is Jay Crowder. So you want to just kind of just make sure you know what's going on with him. If you want, I mean, if he's questionable, you could play him anyway. You know, if you want to try that, because he's an upside guy too. So I think any or all of those guys are viable. So if you wanted to run a couple of Cleveland guys with a couple of Memphis guys, and what could be what should be a high pace, no defense matchup, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, I think that I have a ton of interest in everybody on the Cleveland side here, so it's going to be tough. What I don't like is having Larry Nance and Exum back, which we did get a little bit of those minutes with Garland and maybe a few games back we were getting Garland and Sexton with no Exum in the backcourt, and obviously they had a couple games without Jordan Clarkson. But I think that the minutes are so secure with Garland and Sexton. And if you look at it, I really felt like since Garland turned the corner, you look at his game log and look, it's just it's the easiest 27, 21, 35, 33, 17, 27, 32, 34, 28, 32. And those 28 and 32 are against two of the four best defensive teams in the NBA. And his minutes were actually a little bit lessened in those games. So it's a little bit weird. I'm a little worried about the minutes going down a little bit. I like him at 35 or 36. I don't like him as much at 29 or 30. And I feel the same way about Sexton, but I think that they'll be up there assuming the game stays close, which I'm betting on this game staying close. And playing one or both of those guys with Kevin Love or Tristan Thompson, preferably Kevin Love, is definitely interesting to me. I don't mind if you want to throw Osman in or for one of the guards instead of one of the guards. But I definitely think there's some merit to all that. I don't think it's the right slate to take a shot on Exum, but there will be small slates where I will say we'll take shots on Exum at 3,200 and other spots. This is just not going to be it. Or what is he, 3,500? On the Memphis side, it obviously is tricky as always, which is what makes them always unowned. I just go back to Joe Val in these spots. Again, had the toughest matchup in basketball the other night, only put up 31 because of it. Before that, two of the previous games, well over 50, 62 on the previous game. I think that he's the upside play I probably lean with the most, but I definitely am okay with taking the 0% owned John Moran and literally the nut matchup for him. It seems weird, but he's not going to be owned, and I prefer him over Jaren Jackson, but I do think they both make for good GBP plays.
You like Crowder at all?
I like Crowder assuming that he plays. Yeah, I do. I think he's a guy I don't know that I'd speculate on him. I don't know if it's that big of a play to make today, but I think that I would play him on Draftkings, not on FanDuel.
Yeah, this to me is could be a fun game. As a matter of fact, this, at least at this particular moment, looks to be the most fun game so far. If you want to know the truth.
I agree.
And it's going to be difficult, so that's good. What's next? Atlanta, San Antonio?
Yeah.
So we can talk about this because we're going to get to it, but you're going to ask me why someone is going to be so popular. I guess we can analyze it a little bit. So on the Atlanta side, nothing fancy for me. The two best plays are the two best players, and that's going to be Trae Young and or John Collins. Trae Young, we see what his ceiling is every day. And, playing San Antonio, Popovich has tricks, and while where their defense may not be as good as it once was or whatever it is, Popovich is still a good coach, and he definitely has scheme and he definitely has tricks. So I think that playing Trae Young definitely comes with a great amount of risk to it. With that said, if he's, again, low owned, he still always has that ceiling where, where it might not matter. And the problem is also that if you don't play Trae, if you play some scenario where they have to trap him and somebody else gets to shoot the ball, you got Kevin Hurt who's priced up at 6,700, for example. Mm-hmm. So it becomes pretty difficult. You could go back to DeAndre Hunter, and I'll tell you what's a little annoying about DeAndre Hunter, by the way, playing him, mm-hmm. and is, I guess, just because they have him guard kind of a tough guy every time.
He has to guard the best
gets
player.
into foul trouble. He gets into foul trouble every game.
He gets into foul trouble. What's weird is he usually still gets the minutes there because he's a terrific. It's really weird to have a team that's that bad defensively with a guy who's that good of a defender. but yeah, it's you're right. He probably will get in foul trouble again tonight. I don't mind him. I think he's going to actually see some ownership unless other value opens up because there's not like guys who are screaming out, "You need to play me." Most of those guys have been priced up a little bit. So I think this is a weird game, man. This is going to be a tough because you have such a high pace.
Right. So here's another thing for the Atlanta side, which I neglected to mention again. And I really think it requires some discussion is with Len out again. What's going to happen at center? Oh, was Bruno Fernando out for the last game?
He was out.
Okay. So I was going to say, do you have to go maybe take another shot at Damian Jones, who played a lot of minutes? And but with Fernando in, I think they're going to spread those around a little bit.
Yeah,
who do you like more? Well, John Collins looks to be on its surface pretty good. I don't think that he outscores Kevin Love all that often. Every time at $500 more.
No, I don't mind Collins. I don't love him. I think he's a solid play. I think that I'm not going to play Trae Young tonight. I actually think the matchup is good. They've been able to beat up on some point guards. And it's almost like when Trae faces like guys who are especially known for being good defenders, it's like he just keeps jacking up shots even more. And you have that in DeJounte Murray, even though the Spurs somehow managed to still be bad against point guards. I'm trying to figure out where I want to be on this game because the LaMarcus thing on the other side is dictating a lot of it for me. This is not LaMarcus's team anymore, in my opinion. I do think he's a really good tournament play, and I say this all the time. The fact that he's like grading out like as a cash game play and is looking like one of the best projected guys in the sites is so confusing to me when no one ever plays him. Yes, it's a good matchup, but you're not getting a discount on him on DraftKings from where he's basically been most of the year, maybe a slight discount. But you look at, 20, 24, 39, 30, 29, 35. Now, part of it, they've been playing in some blowouts, but this could be a blowout. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see at the high ownership why we have to play him. But I do think at low ownership, he's an excellent play. I know it sounds weird.
Don't worry about that because there's just no way he's going to be low.
There's ways, but unlikely. If you look at what's happened with this team, though, this team has been playing terrific basketball, and a lot of it has coincided with really letting, or much better basketball, I should say, not terrific. Might be a little bit exaggeration. But they've been playing 1,000 times better since they've really let DeMar DeRozan have the reins. And you can see it in the numbers he's been putting up. His real-life points totals, he's been averaging about 30 for this year, this month, which is this year. So I actually think DeMar DeRozan is a good sneaky tournament play. I don't think people are going to play him at 8.1 at all. And I think there is definitely up to 60-point upside, but more likely in the 50 range. Like if I was going to compare playing Trae Young versus DeRozan here, I would say DeRozan has the better matchup. DeRozan's 2,100 cheaper, and I feel like their ceilings are fairly similar. So I would lean DeRozan over a higher-owned Trae Young. But again, I don't know that I'm going to really prioritize anyone from this game unless we can get lower ownership on LaMarcus Aldridge. The other guy who you'd consider because the matchup is so perfect for him, but again, we just never get the minutes, so we're not going to argue whether or not this will be the night where he does. Let's just assume in 28 minutes, can DeJounte Murray put up 40? Absolutely he can. So I will take a shot with DeJounte Murray, but I'm not like loving this spot, but that's sort of how I feel about most games in the slate.
Yeah, watch your ownerships. Because one of the places I'm looking actually has DeJounte Murray and DeMar DeRozan being the third and fourth highest owned players on the slate.
DeMar DeRozan?
Yeah. The Atlanta matchup is pretty juicy, I guess.
It's a great matchup, sure, but okay.
Well, I'm not saying it's not a great play. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's a good play or bad play. I'm just saying that again, watch. We'll watch how these ownerships kind of play out.
It'll be interesting to see.
But I actually was going to say pretty much exactly what you said. My favorite play, if I had to make one from this game, would be DeJounte Murray. And like you said, and I think he's also a pretty neat pivot off of Trae Young in a way. You know what I mean? Because if you want DeJounte Murray to get all these turnovers and get all these steals and stuff like that, you're probably going to get a decent amount of them from Trae Young being doing Trae Young things. You know what I mean? Like throwing the ball away sometimes like he does. And so, again, I think he's going to be owned also. So, on its surface, I like all these guys. I like DeRozan. I like Murray. I like Aldridge. But if any of those guys end up being more than 20% on DraftKings, I don't think I'm going to do it, and which means that LaMarcus Aldridge, I'm probably not going to end up going there on DraftKings. He's just going to be high owned. But if he isn't, I'll play him. But
it will be tilting though, because I mean he's had some other really good matchups lately too, and like no one's played him for so long, and I've been playing him like every day, and it just would be annoying to miss it, like to miss out on that big 60 burger that he's going to put up sometime. But that's what's going to happen.
I mean, no, it's going to happen.
If it's an LMA Andrew Wiggins night,
no, you know when this is what's going to happen. You know when LMA is going to put up a 60. He's going to put up the 60. Not when he's going to be low owned.
He's going to be Utah or something.
It's going to be It's going to be because there's just like this incredible play at the top end and an incredible play as a value that makes that combination work. And that entire range of prices that LaMarcus Aldridge would be part of is just going to be not part of optimal builds. So he's just going to get lost on a day where he projects decently, and he's going to score 60. That's when he's going to score 60.
That's probably. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yep.
Let's get on to the finale.
So we just have the one left?
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I presume that if you have a pretty good score going, that you shouldn't be at all worried about Lillard and Doncic playing against each other in the last game. I think you should just lock up your money, put down your down payment on a house, because there's no way that 330-point score that you have is gonna lose when all that's left is Luka and Lillard going back and forth down the court. But all of that aside, obviously that is a very, very I don't want to say likely, but that's a very commonplace scenario in a game like this, where you have Luka on one side, you'll have Lillard on the other side. They both project to be good plays in and of themselves, and they will feed off each other. And the spread, as I said, is just perfect for the Lillard game. It's a little mid-range underdog situation, and God forbid, Luka decides to really go off. All that's going to do is make Lillard want to shoot the ball more.
Not to mention that he just destroys national TV games in general.
Who Lillard?
Yeah.
I bet you Stotch just tells Lillard like every game's a national televised game. I think
he should. I mean, no, but you can tell the difference. I mean, if you look at Lillard's like track record, his games during his televised games are like psychotically better than his other ones, even in tough matchups.
Yeah. So I think that if you can afford him, I think that I would certainly try to get some exposure to a Luka Lillard mini stack. I would. It's going to be tough to pay $12,000 for anybody today, unless some good value opens up, and there's some good mid-range stuff to play. So it's going to be tough to get that in, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to try a little of it.
I like it. I don't know that I'm going to end up doing it myself personally, but I do think that I think on FanDuel it's more justifiable just because of how Lucas Strike over there makes a terrific play on FanDuel, where on DraftKings at 12-4, it is kind of tricky unless some crazy value opens up to try and get these two guys in. And the other guy in this game, the guy who's going to be high owned in every format is Whiteside, who should smash here. A guy I used to love to play at low ownership. Now I feel like he's always a little bit higher owned than I want to play him. But definitely a guy who's in play, although I probably am going other directions. I certainly wouldn't fault you for playing Whiteside. And it is kind of odd to me when I see Whiteside at the same price point as Lillard, and then people locking in Whiteside over Lillard. Because I just feel like the realistic upside in this type of matchup, don't you feel like Lillard gets 65 more often than Whiteside does?
I don't know.
I do.
Yeah, probably. I'm not too concerned about. I mean, if you have Whiteside and he's motivated, and he's got Dwight Powell to deal with, I don't know. You're probably right, but and I on its surface, I like Lillard as a play in general more than I like Whiteside, just because the various risks that go along with Whiteside. We know what they are. There's foul risk. There's Whiteside risk, and stuff like that. So I happen to do like
in this game, there's pace risk.
That's interesting.
Dallas plays fast. I mean, some of the games were, and it's not like he played badly against Houston. They actually left him in there, which surprised me, but he wasn't like what you wanted. You got Charlotte in a game that actually played a little faster than we thought it would. Minnesota, same thing. And then a little bit of a slower teams in the Miamis and the Torontos, he tends to do better. Although he did crush Washington. I just think
Hey, just game logs just for a second.
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony's 6,200, and he has gotten 36 points or higher 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out.
Well, I mean, first of all, I played a ton of him the other night, obviously against Houston. That was also you get the revenge narrative. He didn't shoot the ball as much as I thought he was going to, so I was a little disappointed. Played hard, rebounded well, has done that. That's partly what got him the 30 in the last games. He's been rebounding well and almost had a triple-double, or not almost had a triple-double, but was in triple-double territory against Charlotte. And then against Milwaukee, had the 11 rebounds to go with it. I think he's in play. He's certainly not my favorite play because he's going to have some ownership. I think I would probably rather play McCollum here than I would Carmelo. I don't really have a ton of interest in either. I think I'm just going to stick mostly with Lillard here. But
you like any of the reserves from the reserves? You like any of the Dallas guys like Dylan Wright or?
No, not with Luka. I'm sorry, not with.
Yeah, you had a really good play the other day. I noticed him on your big lineup where you went to Dwight Powell. I guess after they announced that Porzingis was out, and he did really, really well.
Yeah, the Powell thing, I put him in a bunch of lineups the other day, and also on FanDuel especially, he was a play. I kept ending up in the 5,400 range, and he was a play that I liked quite a bit. But he has to be so efficient, and with Porzingis back, I just don't think he can do it.
Well, the other thing, again, I'd be remiss for not mentioning it. Another thing that could really, really frustrate Whiteside is a guy who's like 8 feet tall that scores 3 fantasy points per minute. Who has played 3 of the last 4 games.
Yes.
I will just say that I'm just gonna put this up on the board, and you could just stare at it. And there is a game in there that he didn't play at all. That was a back-to-back. January 14th, he didn't play on the 15th, I think, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I just know what I see, and I see a guy. It's 3K who's 2 of the last 3 games. He's gotten 10x.
Yeah, if Porzingis was out again, I would be interested in taking a shot here. It might be the right kind of slate worth taking a shot just because there isn't that great value, but it's hard for me to see with all the big guys healthy how he gets more than like 10 minutes. That might be enough, by the way, but I don't know that I want to bet on that personally. I get it. I just don't, unless I really want to do something creative with a lineup or two. I don't think I'm going to be playing him.
Now, I will say that his last game, as it even references in the report here, it was kind of garbage time. That he got the second bunch of 10 minutes in the last game.
I mean, this could be the same thing.
It's very possible. And they you know what they do? They love putting him in, and the fans just love it when he comes in. So if in fact this is a blowout, he's just got to come in, I think.
That's interesting. I think it's a good call.
Probably not, but I would be remiss to not.
Look, it would have been a good call because you've said it and you had said it, so you did make the good call. Though. It's just you've mentioned it in the last 4 times.
And then we just never play him.
We just haven't really played him, but yeah. I mean, he's getting there.
Yeah. All right, and Boban is the perfect player for last year's FanDuel structure. It just is.
Oh my God, what a dream that was every day, just plugging him in. And also that was the one position that it was like always like tricky to find someone. So it was just fun to take a shot every night.
Oh, last night we got, another good thing we did last night that just kind of went, I would say unneeded or unnoticed because of everything else that smashed is played the FanDuel center I came up with after everything else was I came up with Mitchell Robinson at 4,600. He ended up getting like 37 points or something like that. Yeah. You know what that's was good for yesterday? Like nothing. That's like
so yesterday instead of the 5x you needed the 10x, huh?
Something like that. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to get to my ownership of sort of where I'm at after going through the list. This is obviously subject to change. It's very early in the day, but as of right now, I think I have Jimmy Butler as my highest owned player.
Interesting.
I just feel like he's the lower owned version of a guy I want to take, I feel pretty good with. And then Chris Paul on the other side of that game, I like quite a bit. In the same tier, though, I have Chris Paul, Garland, Napier, Kevin Love, Siakam. And then just the tier below, I have Lillard, Sexton. Garland and Sexton should be the same. Lillard, Sexton, Garland, Sabonis, Thad Young, DeJounte Murray. That's pretty much that range for me. And then, you know, you get into all the other guys. Partly I'm trying to build and not have the guys who are too crazy high owned. Like, I still don't know where I stand on, we've got a tough situation. Like, I still don't know where I stand on Napier overall today. I feel like it seems like an auto play, and I feel like he could even be higher owned. But if I can fade that somehow, I feel like I can just, if he just goes and puts up another 25, I feel like I could crush.
What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have my main builds are going to be involved with the Cleveland, Memphis for sure. And then probably my next biggest thing might end up being that Minnesota Indiana game. And then my next things was going to be a choice between getting exposed to that Chicago Philadelphia game or the Atlanta San Antonio or the Portland Dallas. And what's going to depend on is honestly what kind of lower priced stuff opens up that allows me to do it and how chalky that would be. Because for me to play the Portland Dallas game the way I want to play it, I'm just going to need like other stuff to make that possible for me. And Atlanta San Antonio, the problem with that is I love the play. I mean, look, I love Trey and Collins and then DeJounte Murray and the guys we mentioned on San Antonio all look like the way to go. But if they're all going to be chalky, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't want to make a big high price chalk stack unless there's just something comes up that I can kind of like make some kind of cool pivot to at the lower end. But where I'm definitely going to go, I'm going to try this Cleveland-Memphis game because, like I said, it's so impossible to find the Memphis guys that they're all going to be low owned. I'm just going to kind of take my shots, take my Valanciunas or my Morants or even Jay Crowder or Jaren Jackson, whatever it is. I know I will have zero confidence in which one is right, but I'll have, a decent combination of all of them that maybe something's got to show.
Yeah, exactly. No, I like it, man. All right. Well, I am going to, we're going to get this one loaded up. And do you want to do a quick FanDuel one after we do this?
100%.
Let's do it. All right. I'm going to load this video. And for Sheets, I'm Bobby. Good luck tonight. We will have a FanDuel video for you guys shortly.
Sounds good.